Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have a great show for you tonight. We have a hemp news segment ready to go here in just a moment. Tim Pate is here with John Cornett.
Yes, we are.
Ready to play some music. How are you, gentlemen?
Oh, I'm doing well. How are you, John?
Very good. I'm here.
Right
It's
on.
good to see you back, John. This is your first time since the whole Hemp is Earth Medicine tour we did
That was wonderful.
earlier. So
Enjoyed it.
welcome back.
Thank you.
We have some film clips we'll play, and of course we'll be taking your phone calls in just a few minutes after our infamous Dancing Cannabis leaves.
Feel the force.
All right, our hemp news segment starts out with a couple stories from here in Oregon, the show where we're taping this for you outside of Oregon. Today we had an article about yesterday's ruling by the Oregon Court of Appeals saying that permits for concealed weapons cannot be withheld from medical marijuana patients. Several counties, including Washington County and Douglas County, had held that people who use medical marijuana with a state permit were violating federal law, and therefore the sheriffs refused to issue concealed weapons permits to legitimate people applying based upon their use of medical marijuana. So the Court of Appeals ruled against them and ordered those permits to be issued. Our other story comes from earlier in the week. The Oregon Board of Pharmacy voted 4-1 to make cannabis a Schedule II drug, meaning that it can be prescribed legally by doctors here in the state of Oregon now. The state legislature had passed Senate Bill 728 during the last legislative session and ordered the Board of Pharmacy to reschedule marijuana out of Schedule I, meaning it has no medical use, to somewhere between Schedule II and V. And the Board of Pharmacy voted 4-1 to go to Schedule II. One person obviously thought it should be Schedule III and voted that way. Our next story is from Detroit, Michigan, where this show's playing. Hello, Michigan viewers. Detroit citizens will vote this November on municipal measure to prohibit the criminal prosecution of adults who possess minor amounts of marijuana. Detroit City Council members this week elected not to take action on the measure, instead opting to let the voters decide its outcome this fall. If passed, the initiative would amend the Detroit City Code to remove criminal penalties for the use or possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana on private property by anyone who's attained the age of 21 years. The measure's proponents, the Coalition for a Safer Detroit, collected over 6,000 signatures from registered voters to qualify the measure for the November ballot. Detroit voters have previously enacted other measures in other municipal areas, such as Denver, Colorado, have deprioritized cannabis prosecutions as well. Out of Denver, Colorado, Democratic Governor William Ritter signed legislation into law last week, amending the state's nearly 10-year-old medical marijuana law. Colorado House Bill 1284 establishes state provisions regulating the distribution of medical cannabis to authorized patients. The law requires medical marijuana dispensing facilities to obtain state and local licensing approval and to be in compliance with all local zoning codes. Dispensaries must pay a state licensing fee and shall be located no closer than 1,000 feet from a school or daycare facility, and the operators must oversee the cultivation of at least 70% of the marijuana that is dispensed at the center. Licensed dispensary owners will be required to undergo a criminal background check by the state as well. The measure also imposes a statewide moratorium on the establishment of new dispensaries beginning next month. House Bill 1284 grants local municipalities the authority to prohibit the establishment of dispensaries in their community. Individual caregivers are legally permitted to provide medical cannabis for up to 5 patients in localities that have formally banned a dispensary. A second measure signed by Colorado Governor Ritter, Senate Bill 109, limits the authority of physicians so that they can only recommend cannabis therapy to patients whom they've had a prior counseling relationship. The law also requires doctors to conduct a physical exam of any patient before they recommend marijuana and prohibits physicians from having a financial relationship with a cannabis dispensary or operating within a cannabis dispensary. Both laws went into effect immediately upon passage. It's anticipated that hundreds of the state's dispensaries will likely be forced to close under the new regulations. According to the National Public Radio report, over 65,000 Coloradans are now registered with the state to use marijuana legally under state law. And that's the end of our hemp news segment this week. We've had a kind of busy week in cannabis news. So how are you gentlemen doing, John and Tim?
Well, it's they are interesting times, I must admit. I have to ask you, how is that going to affect those folks in Colorado with the change and it seems like that's an immediate change that affects quite a few people. Are they going to have less access to their medicine, or what's the deal there?
I don't think so. There's been a lot of chicanery, you might say, going on there in Colorado. A lot of doctors were forming financial relationships with the dispensaries and letting the patients go through for free, but then selling the patient's information to the dispensaries, which to me seems unethical.
Sounds a little like Rocky Mountain High to me.
Yeah. John Denver sang about that, I guess.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. There was a reason for that.
Yeah. Sitting around the campfire.
You get that high, and then you get that high, and you're just high.
Well, you're already up that high.
That's just
there was
what
a
I'm
big conference last weekend. National Normal had their annual legal convention in Aspen, Colorado. I had gone to one a couple years back. I
talked to some friends who were there, and it's really quite a thing.
It is. It's a lot of fun. Way up in the mountains for sure.
So high. So high. John, he's here with me this week. We had a lot of fun on that tour together. We really did. You may not be aware of it, though, but we've been running some clips of you and me and Jim Matheson since we had that tour, because there were some opportunities we had to play together while we were on tour. So
I saw a couple of them on YouTube.
Yeah, we filmed
very good stuff.
And ended up there.
Did you see the one with you in the wig?
No.
Is that one?
No, we didn't really play that.
It made YouTube. Oh, no.
You heard that, Jan Sue?
Well, our friend Jim Matheson, whom we've played with, the Herbivores from Seattle, I talked to him just a little while ago, and he said that he had to do a plea bargain with his situation that was going on down in California in the law down there. So I asked him to come on the show here soon and tell us a little bit more about that, and he said he would do that. So I'm sure we'll hear more from Jim here very soon and get a chance to play with him again, too. You got a song for us tonight. Yeah,
Jan Sue and I got together and wrote this little tune today, and we kind of polished up the lyrics a little bit on the way here. This is fresh off the press.
Know how much we've rehearsed this already, folks.
I like marijuana. I like to grow marijuana. Stick it in the ground and water it down. Marijuana. I need marijuana. To use marijuana. From food to medicine, this prohibition must end. Marijuana.
All right,
We're
John
done now.
Cornett with Tim Pate.
Short and sweet. Thank you.
So we are here ready to take your phone calls. If you have a question or comment about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, or helping medical marijuana patients, you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We also have our show streaming live on the internet on ustream.tv. That's the letter U, STREAM.tv. And via that, you can use the chat facility to talk to other people who are watching the show on the internet and to send us questions on the air. And in fact, we already have our first question. But let's go. We've got one off the internet, but let's take the one on the phone call first. Hello, caller. Welcome to our show.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
If you're gonna start up a co-op and you have the card holders are the growers, who can help the card holders out? Can you have another grower help out, or do you need to assign a caregiver, or how does that work?
Under the current law, growers and caregivers can band together. A caregiver is not limited to the number of patients that they can care for under the law, and then the person responsible for the grow site or the grower can grow for up to 4 individual patients. And so, but growers and caregivers can, in a co-op such as you were talking about, go in together on the same property, and there's no real limit on that. So as many caregivers and growers and patients who want to pool their resources in cultivating cannabis can do so.
So if you have another grower or a caregiver that's there, they can make sure that everything stays watered and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, anyone who holds a card can legally go in and help with the gardening if you're out of town or something. So regardless of whether they're really the one that's responsible for the grow site or caregiver for the patient who those plants are registered under.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen.
As long as they're over 18. They have to be over 18.
You want to make sure that they are.
Okay.
They have that.
Yeah,
those,
if they have a
qualifications.
medical marijuana permit.
Right,
and
right.
here in Oregon, there are 3 types: a grower's card, a caregiver card, and a patient card.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Thanks for your question.
Thank you, guys. You're great. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. We have a question from the online forum there asking if diseases outside of IBS that cause gastrointestinal problems qualify for medical marijuana. Many of them do. It's hard for me to say off the top of my head, based on that limited information, whether the specific condition you're talking about qualifies. But for more information, you can call our office. The toll-free number to call the office is 1-800-723-0188. You can leave a message 24 hours a day, and somebody will be back with you Monday through Saturday to find out how they can help you. So again, that number is 1-800-723-0188. Or here in the Portland area, you can call us at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606.
Well, a lot of things cause a lot of pain down there. There's no doubt about that. So many of the chronic diseases that gastrointestinal diseases are going to qualify.
Well,
because
CBD
of
is
the things that they
particularly
do.
useful for calming spasms and restoring homeostasis or balance to the gastrointestinal system and to other systems as well. It's CBD, cannabidiol or cannabidiol, depending on who you talk to.
I know what
is
you're
the
talking
most
about, but, some of them
active medicinal product in cannabis, where the THC is good for nausea. It's also good for some psychological conditions and as an appetite stimulant. CBD is what takes care of all the rest of those conditions.
True. So true.
So I think we have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hi.
Ah, you are there.
Howdy.
Yeah, I'm having a heck of a time getting my card because of the paperwork. I've got the proper medical paperwork, but I need something with my, like a driver's license or an Oregon ID. Mine was stolen several months ago. You
can also have a current photograph along with your voter registration card, which is pretty inexpensive to get. And if you go to your county elections office, you can pick that up on the spot. Usually they'll mail you the real one, but they'll give you a certificate that you applied.
Okay, you know the Oregon building?
Sure.
Do they do that in there somewhere?
No, a voter registration card's found at various county elections offices. Here in Portland, Multnomah County Elections is located at the corner of 11th and Southeast Morrison. So you'd find it right at the corner of 11th and Southeast Morrison. In Washington County, you'd find it in the in Hillsborough, in the Washington County Courthouse. And in Clackamas County, you'd find the elections office in a building about a quarter-mile down from the post office in Gladstone. So it's right there in Gladstone for the Washington County one.
I'm seeing the doctor tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
And I want to know if my Oregon Trail card information I just got in the mail, along with a photocopy from the same people of my Social Security card and my Oregon ID. Would that work?
Yeah, if you have an Oregon ID card, then that in itself, or even if it's just a photocopy,
yes.
Well, that's fine. That works just fine.
That'll work good.
Yeah, that's what you turn in is a photocopy anyway. So
since '05, I've been paying the $100. This time, because of some legal stuff I've been dealing with, it's pretty much broke the camel's back, and I was wondering if there's any kind of assistance.
Well, you know, this is, as a cable access show, we are not supposed to talk about commercial activities, businesses, anything to do with asking for money or finances. So let me just say that you should talk to the cashier at any place you go.
No, I don't think that's what he meant there. What you're shooting for is there any kind of a discount if you are under special circumstances? And yes, you have to be like under Social Security, SSI, or food stamps in the state of Oregon, and the state will reduce the $100 fee.
Yeah, that's
to $20.
Down to what?
To $20.
Oh, okay.
If you have the Oregon food stamp card that you mentioned, that's right. It's a $20 fee instead of a $100 fee to the state.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So you qualify for that.
Glad you got that clear. So if you have a question for us tonight, give us a call at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We're popping around a lot of different phone numbers here, and that's the one if you want to call in during our live show on the night of June 18th, Friday, June 18th.
Now we had a great meeting out at the park this last weekend.
It was a lot of fun. We had about 40 or 50 people show up, and it was a nice sunny day.
And hot dogs, so I know.
The field was beautiful right there at the confluence of the Columbia River and the Willamette River, the two largest rivers in the West.
They were full too.
Yeah, they were
very full. They had a lot of water, but we did pick a sunny day, so it was a nice day to be out at the park and take a look at what.
And that was for volunteers for our Hemp Stock Festival.
Yes,
so
it was.
If you're out there, our Hemp Stock Festival is coming up on September 11th and 12th this year.
Yes.
So we hope to see you out at Kelly Point Park, and we'll have some other volunteer opportunities if you want to find out more about that.
Yeah, we're starting to line up some of the acts. I know that John Trudell will be there again. I'm very excited just to see him again.
Yeah, Folk Uke is going to be there.
Folk Uke is coming. I talked with Kathy this week, and Kathy Guthrie, and yeah, they're very excited about coming.
Yeah, Human Revolution's already booked again. They're another
excellent
frequent performer. We're talking to a couple other surprise people out there.
Yes, we are.
Hopefully we'll have some more exciting surprises for you in regards to the lineup coming at the Portland Hemp Stock Festival.
Yeah, even before that, the Seattle Hemp Fest will be coming up the third weekend in August, and being the grand prize committee again myself, I have now accumulated the grand prizes, and I have to say that if you're there this year, there's a good chance you're going to get it. We have some wonderful grand prizes again. Let me say that, and if you're there, you might get a chance to win them. I'll say that too.
It's a raffle, right?
It will be again this year. This year we will have a raffle from the
I know
state.
that last year I heard they had the budget's $300,000 and they were $50,000 short this year, and so I know they're trying to get members to join the new Seattle Hemp Fest organization.
Yes, and that's coming along.
There's some benefits going to that. I think there's a party this weekend, so if you're watching up there in the Seattle area, get involved in the Seattle Hemp Fest group. It is all volunteer arming. Everyone works on it, works as a volunteer. All the money goes to buying the stage and the security and everything else that's needed.
Yeah,
So-
and it's a wonderful crew, and I have to pass on word to our core staff family that,
Elvis is
a
gone.
friend of ours, Elvis, who's been on core staff since I've been there, and I've been there 15 years, passed away yesterday, and way ahead of his time. So a warrior has gone on. I guess he needed to spend some time with Jack. So
Maybe so.
maybe so.
We have another caller. Welcome to our show, caller.
Hi.
Hey.
Howdy.
Yeah, my question is, I'd like to know a little bit more about the concealed weapons law.
Well, if you want to carry a concealed weapon in the state of Oregon, you have to apply to the county sheriff. And when you apply to the county sheriff, there's a question on there, do you use illegal drugs? And if you answer yes, then you don't get a concealed weapons. Well, several sheriffs, led by Washington County's illustrious elected law enforcement sheriff, decided to put the question on there, are you a medical marijuana patient? And that was the first county to do that. Douglas County joined, and now most of the counties have that. Here in Multnomah County, that question's on there, but answering yes or no will not affect Multnomah County's decision whether to issue a concealed weapons permit to you. So several people sued these county sheriffs for not issuing their concealed weapons permit based upon their legal medical use of marijuana under state law. And the sheriffs held that because it was against the federal law that they had to enforce the federal law. And the Oregon Court of Appeals came back yesterday and said that's incorrect, that all these people had been turned down based upon being medical marijuana patients for a Oregon concealed weapons permit had to be issued their concealed weapons permit. So it's a victory for medical marijuana patients. Now, the Oregon Supreme Court had recently ruled in favor of allowing employers to fire medical marijuana card holders for testing positive in drug cases. So it's kind of a mixed bag. We'll see how this Court of Appeals decision winds up once it goes up to the state Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
That's a good answer. Because it wasn't confusing in the paper. They did a good job covering it.
Right.
But basically, this isn't done yet.
Right.
You know, they're going to appeal. I know the sheriffs are going to appeal. They want to.
Well, the Washington County and Douglas County sheriffs certainly seem to. I guess the Washington County sheriff was on vacation and couldn't comment in the newspaper article that was in today's paper. But we'll see what happens.
You know, I understand his perspective that, you know, he's got two sets of laws. He's got the state law he has to fulfill, and the federal laws.
Well, no,
but I think he
doesn't have to fulfill federal law.
That's
not
where I was
part
going
of
to
his
go.
oath.
That's where I was going to go with
he's
this.
He's not required.
Yeah,
You're more understanding of him than I would be.
Well,
I say that you know, it's not his job to enforce federal law. He's employed by the people of Washington County to enforce county and state laws, not
Exactly.
federal laws.
That's where I was
nothing
gonna go
he
with
can
it,
do can, you know, he's not a federal officer, so his job is not to enforce those. But that's what he holds. We have a question from an audience member. Hello.
I'm sorry. I had always understood that in Oregon and in fact all over the nation, or I don't know, or at least in Oregon specifically, that you're not allowed to carry a weapon, but you are allowed to apply specifically for a handgun to be concealed. Because I've heard many cases of people being convicted of carrying of a concealed weapon for carrying something like a knife or brass knuckles, whereas their concealed handgun permit didn't cover them.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Whether I haven't ever had owned a firearm myself, and even though I certainly am a big supporter of the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, if I ever thought I needed a gun, I wouldn't hesitate to go get it.
If I have one, it's concealed.
Yeah, we wouldn't hold it out in the public.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure about how it applies to other sorts of weapons. I can't answer any questions along that line. You could be right. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. If you're out there and you have a question for us tonight, you can call us at that number there on your screen. It's 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And we'll be happy to take your question and try to answer it best we can.
Well, we'll try.
Yeah.
You got a book there.
There's a nifty book here. We had an audience member bring it up again this week. It's It's one of my favorites by Portlander George Cervantes. And so it's the Marijuana Horticulture, the Indoor-Outdoor Medical Growers Bible. And I myself learned about cultivation initially from this very book in an earlier version back in 1985. And it's very, very useful. It has over 1,100 color pictures, and it's cheap. You can even get used copies even cheaper on Amazon.com.
And it still reads good.
I understand we have another caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Stoughton. How's it going?
Pretty well. How are you?
Pretty good. So I was on my way home from work one night, and I was riding with my buddy in the car, and I noticed he had been smoking marijuana before I got in the vehicle. And driving home, and I got pulled over, got a ticket because he smelled the marijuana, and gave us both $700 fines and possession charge or whatever. And I wasn't high, nor did I have any marijuana on me, and my buddy admitted to it.
Mm-hmm. So did you plead? Did you? What happened with the ticket? You can turn in and say you're not guilty, and go to court and call the other guy as a witness. And
yeah, I was making sure I was seeing if that was even legal for him to do that.
Yeah, no, that's not legal. You should not have been given a ticket. However, once you've been given one, then you have to, if you aren't guilty, you have to go into court and argue that, and have the other fellow call him as a witness and have him testify how you hadn't been using cannabis and you weren't driving the vehicle. So
now, I'm not sure how it is here, but when you may have to, I know in some counties in Oregon, you have to pay the fine first. It is your bail. And so you have to come up with that fine first before you can even go to court to try it. And then if you win, they give you your money back.
Right. I live in Oregon, so I mean, I'm going to plead not guilty and everything. Hopefully they'll, believe me and everything. But also I had another question.
Go ahead.
I don't. I have my Oregon food card and everything like that, and I don't have any medical insurance. I was wondering how to go about applying for medical marijuana card, and I have a back injury. So,
well, you go to a doctor, and you get the doctor to fill out this state form called an attending physician statement that you can get through the health department. Then you have to fill out an application form and turn in a photocopy or ID with a payment to the state. It's a $100 payment unless you're on food stamps or other public health plan like the Oregon Health Plan or Social Security Supplemental Security Income Program. Distinct, not disability, but supplemental security income. If you're on one of those three programs, then the state will give you a $20 annual fee to get your medical marijuana permit. If you don't have a doctor who can help you, we have doctors all over the United States and are happy to refer you to a doctor who can help. Just give us a call at, if you're outside of Portland, that toll-free number there on your screen, 1-800-723-0188. If you are in Portland, then give us a call at 503-235-4606.
Right. Okay, and what was that program called again?
It's the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program. Okay. And so if you look up that on the internet through Google or one of the other search engines, the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program, the state website will pop up. You go there and you can print those forms out and take them right to your doctor. And if your doctor won't do it, then you can call us and we'll be happy to refer you to doctors who will.
Right. Okay. I appreciate you guys.
Sure. Thanks for your call and your question. We have a couple online questions here. The first one is, why does my blood pressure drop when I ingest or inhale cannabis? And is this a bad thing? Well, if you have regular blood pressure or high blood pressure, having your blood pressure drop is a good thing. However, if you are suffer from low blood pressure, having your blood pressure drop would probably be a bad thing. For some people, inexperienced users, it'll cause the blood pressure to rise, probably in response to anxiety. And for people who are established users of cannabis who don't experience that anxiety, it's a dilator, and CBD or cannabidiol will cause your blood vessels and your lung passageways to dilate or get larger, which will cause a drop in blood pressure. And if you've got regular blood pressure or high blood pressure, that's a good thing. The next question we have is, do you expect that there will be specialized types of marijuana to treat different disorders? And our doctor is currently working on this. Well, in fact, there are already distinct types of cannabis to help different disorders. There are several strains that are available from a company in the Netherlands or from dispensaries down in California that are very high in CBD, and so those strains would be preferable. But CBD is generally located in high concentrations in the leaf of cannabis as well. And so there are not just doctors, but several companies, including one called GW Pharmaceuticals, trying to bring out medicines based upon their level of cannabinoids. And so there's several, in fact, every major pharmaceutical company is investigating how to patent certain compounds that they want to isolate from cannabis, or analogs that are close knockoffs and slightly different molecularly from the actual compounds in cannabis. So all the major pharmaceutical companies are looking at a whole host of different cannabinoids and trying to alter them and patent them so they can make lots of money. So that is, in fact,
you know, over the last 10 years, too, at the normal conferences that we've had here, you know, at the cups that we've had, they've always had a rating system for the medicine to find out which one is effective for certain, you know.
That's right.
You know,
Oregon Normals, Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards has tried to ask people specifically what strains of cannabis work for what conditions.
And you have to compile that information over a long time. It's
anecdotal. Exactly. So you get different results from different people, and the same strain, depending on how it's grown and when it's harvested, can be radically different in its effect on the same person. Exactly. Because it has different levels of cannabinoids at various times, at 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks into the flower harvest.
So it can be a chemistry project, no matter what.
Well, horticulture indoors is a science, and so it depends on how the experiment's carried out. We have one more call we'll take, and then we'll go to a film clip that will roll. So let's take the caller. Hello, caller. You're on our show.
Yes, I am. My call is, I'd like to know if you have old felony charges, if you can still get a concealed weapons.
Well, I don't believe so. If you have a felony charge, unless it's been expunged from your record, then you cannot even own a weapon, no less have a concealed weapon. So you wouldn't want to own a firearm if you have a felony conviction on your record, unless you've gone through the legal process of having that expunged.
I see. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. However, a felony conviction won't have any impact on becoming a medical marijuana patient. The only thing that would is if you have been convicted of selling or distributing drugs since January 1st, 2006, in which case you can still be a patient, but you can't be your own grower and you can only have an ounce at a time. So if you aren't convicted of a felony or actually a drug charge since January 1st, 2006, then you can be a medical patient. We have a film clip we're going to roll right now, and then we'll be back in just a moment, so stay tuned.
Continuing addiction until they deteriorate, mentally become insane, and turn to violent crime and murder.
Extra, extra, playground dope spill about marijuana cuts sister's throat.
Anslinger's campaign was tailor-made for the lurid tabloid press and supported by an army of moralist groups that captured the public's imagination.
Movie Tone News, covering the world to bring you the news.
He's a man that smokes that job will take you for a dive. Wonders if he's still alive when you smoke that kidney job.
America is threatened by a new drug menace. Street corner vendors whose stock in trade is the deadly loco weed marijuana pass it out in cigarette form. From ingeniously concealed containers, the reefers go to the waiting hands of deluded youngsters.
When you smoke that kidney job.
Police find a city backyard full of dope. This innocent-looking weed is Mexican marijuana, which when smoked produces more nightmares than opium. Captain Mooney of the narcotics squad will tell us something about it.
The constant use of these marijuana cigarettes causes temporary insanity.
Yes, smoke that kidney job.
Let's go, Jack. I'm red hot.
Our state voted for the Uniform Narcotic Act, and so should yours.
The propaganda campaign was successful beyond Anslinger's wildest dreams. One by one, state after state signed on.
When you smoke that killing job.
Gentlemen, take your seats.
But now, frightened out of their minds, the American public demanded that the federal government pass new laws to fight marijuana. Terrified voters wanted action, and their government responded. Without any public debate, scientific inquiry, or political objection, the Marijuana Tax Act was signed into law by President Roosevelt. The act prohibited possession of marijuana anywhere in the United States without a special tax stamp from the Treasury Department, and the Treasury Department didn't give out any stamps, effectively making marijuana illegal. Overnight, a new class of criminals was created.
To the Treasury agents of the Bureau of Narcotics comes the job of wiping out this traffic. And in 1937, we smashed 10 major narcotic rings. Only the cooperation of an awakened public will make the hell of it.
The ladies crave, the country's rave, this jive, jive, jive. This modern treat makes life complete. Jive, jive, jive. All the jive is gone. All the jive is gone. I'm sorry, Kate, but you got here late. All the jive is gone. All the jive is gone. All the jive is gone. So come on in and drink some gin. All the jive is gone.
The first person to be convicted was Samuel R. Caldwell, a 58-year-old Denver man. Sentencing him to 4 years hard labor at Leavenworth, Judge J. Foster Syme said, "I consider marijuana the worst of all narcotics. Under its influence, men become beasts. In the future, I will impose the heaviest penalties. The government is going to enforce this new law to the letter."
All the jive is gone.
Prohibition cannot be enforced for the simple reason that the majority of American people do not want it enforced and are resisting its enforcement. That being so, the orderly thing to do under our form of government is to abolish a law which cannot be enforced, a law which the people of the country do not want enforced.
New York's prohibition-fighting mayor, Fiorello LaGuardia, was somewhat skeptical of the government's claims that marijuana was causing murder, rape, and the destruction of America's youth. Wanting to get the facts, he commissioned a study by a group of 31 impartial scientists. After 6 years of medical and sociological research, the LaGuardia Commission found smoking marijuana did not lead to violent or antisocial behavior. Smoking marijuana did not cause uncontrollable sexual urges. Smoking marijuana did not alter a person's basic personality structure. Item by item, the Commission's report disproved every negative effect claimed by Harry Anslinger. Furious, Anslinger used his influence with the press to have the report discredited and destroyed every copy he could get his hands on. And by restricting the supply of marijuana, he put a stop to any further research. Not taking any chances, Anslinger ordered his men to dig up dirt on anyone who disagreed with him, and going on the offensive, he targeted the entertainment industry.
So it's a tactic that continues until today, that they don't allow people to do research here in the United States on medical marijuana, and so we see that research being done overseas. And the federal government continues to just spread lies and propaganda. And there was the first liar in chief, Mr. Anslinger, who was the head of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics from 1931 to 1961. Anyway, we're going to take a phone caller. Welcome to our show, caller.
Nope.
Oh, he's gone.
All right.
Well, we got a little display here. We will come to that. A studio audience member has just come in with this nifty little combination of various products, and so we have some hash and different kinds of flowers, and it's just a whole bunch of nifty stuff, and a little container full of joints over here that is very aromatic, very fruity smell in there, I gotta
smell
say.
This.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We wish we had smell-o-vision. We're still working on that.
Yes,
we've got 3D TV now, so maybe smell-o-vision comes next. We'll see how that goes.
That would work. I'd like
But
that.
yeah, there's just a whole variety of products here. There's some hash oil. There's some extracts of cannabis and several different kinds. And we want to thank the folks at the Human Collective out in Tigard. The Human Collective. You can find out more about them at humancollective.org. That's humancollective.org. And so thanks
Nice display. Well
thanks
done.
for bringing in this nifty display. Very well organized and presented. So we thank you. So if you have a question for us out there, give us a call at 503-288-4448. And we do have another question from the internet, and that is, would cannabis have any effect on a damaged liver from hepatitis B? No, it has no effect, positive or negative, on the liver or on hepatitis A, B, or C. It does relieve some of the symptoms of various forms of hepatitis, whether it be lack of appetite. It's an appetite stimulant, control pain, nausea, and spasms that's associated with deteriorating liver function. And so cannabis can help alleviate some of the symptoms, but wouldn't have any negative or positive effect outside of that you can eat better and maintain a good diet that's going to keep your immune system working better and to fight off the infection as long as possible. There are several combinations of drugs out there that they have now to treat hepatitis, kind of chemotherapy that's pretty long, involved, and very grueling, but cannabis will help with that too. So those do qualify. We have a telephone caller again. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Paul.
Howdy.
I was calling about asking a question about something, but I wanted to say first, thanks for being around. You've been helping my family since the age of 16 for my daughter, and she's now 20 and doing okay.
Right on.
Autoimmune problems, and of course the rest of the family. But my question is, I am the grower for four patients. One wanted out. I told him it was fine, and then another person signed on, and then I'm trying to figure out how to get my name off of his record.
You can send a letter to the Oregon Health Department and turn your card over to them and say you're no longer that person's caregiver.
Good.
Or you can have the patient send such a letter to the Oregon Health Department.
Oh, so
Either
send a
way,
letter.
either one of those methods will take that person off of as one of your patients under the law.
You need to do that within 30 days as well.
But I can't get a hold of him, and I don't, I have another client now, so I have to do that. Okay, well, Paul, one time we talked about sun versus shade leaves.
Yeah.
Pulling off shade leaves. I'm talking about that in an indoor situation. You thought that not pulling them off was the appropriate thing, so they
the plant will take the nutrients out of those leaves and use it for further growth or in other parts of production, especially the mobile nutrients. There are several mobile nutrients such as nitrogen that can be moved around within the plant from the leaf. So generally, once a leaf is shaded, it starts to yellow and then wither away. And during that process, the plant takes the nutrients that it can from the leaf.
Because you're trying to get as much electric light to the plant itself, would you think or would you not think that it would be more advantageous to take those shade leaves off once they've turned into shade leaves, as long as there's another branch growing from them, off, so more sun will get to your plants?
Well, if the leaf is there and it's not deteriorating or yellowing, then it is performing photosynthesis. So as long as it's performing that photosynthesis, it's taking nutrients from its root system and converting it into sugar or glucose, which fuels growth of the plant. And so indoors, your limiting factor is the light available, or the lumens that the light puts out.
Correct.
And so those lumens will be utilized as long as they're not too intense and not too dim. Generally, there's a distance from a light bulb anywhere from 18 inches down to 3.5 feet where the plant growth is optimal.
Gotcha.
As long as you're in that area away from 1,000-watt light, then it's going to continue to photosynthesize and cause plant growth. So my recommendation is to let the plant take the nutrients out of the leaf. Taking the leaf off isn't going to be the end of, it's not going to cause a major problem. I mean, the plant's used to having animals out there chew on some of these leaves,
Right.
you know.
That's my theory exactly.
Yeah.
But like, is there a plus or is there a minus, That's what I'm wondering.
It's kind of a personal decision. I would say unless there's a growth tip or a bud right underneath that leaf, you should leave the leaf in place. If it's just shading other leaves, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I believe that once you get a little stem growing there with another leaf on it, right as the main stem, you can pull them off and get much more light. And I believe productivity from the indoor garden. But that's my philosophy. 6 to 1 or half dozen of the other, it sounds like.
All right. Well, thanks for your question. We appreciate it.
Bye.
It's always good to illuminate
I was wanting
those
to
issues.
sit on the sideline of that debate. I was getting the.
I could see you. You opened that up and
It's like
started
it's so,
sniffing and perked right up there. The grapey, fruity smell of those
That's true. They said
encased
this
flowers.
is blueberry, and it smells
It smells
fruity.
very
It has
much
that
like
fruity smell to it.
blueberries.
It really
So
does.
we can thank the folks again at humancollective.org for sharing that with us so we can smell it right here on live TV.
Smell it over there.
We have another film clip we're going to roll briefly, and we'll be right back, so enjoy this.
The following trailer contains real marijuana. Legend has it that deep within the THC crystal of the marijuana plant, there lives a goddess. A goddess so incredible that meeting her will transform your life forever.
She's magnificent, glorious, beautiful, delicious.
I want to meet her.
You start with a strain like this, nurture her, worship her. When your mind is open, she will come.
When their leader is arrested, 3 friends will travel halfway across the world, plant 25,000 marijuana plants, and harvest more organic ganja than you and all of your friends could smoke in 3 lifetimes. Whoa, that's a lot of pot.
You're from America? Yep. So you think you can just come over to Europe, grow some weed, and make a whole bunch of money? Doesn't work like that.
All I know is, after how some of y'all treated the son, the Lord felt the need to hide his daughter. And he hid her in the most sacred of sacred places.
They have only one chance to get it right and to meet one goddess. Would you like to meet the Green Goddess?
So that is a movie that is working for distribution. It's very difficult for movies to get distribution, but I have a acting part and am the assistant producer of the production. I just helped out in its latter stages of formation, but it's a neat movie. We hope to see it out there soon. You can go to the website greengoddess.info for more information. There's clips of it up on YouTube as well. So, gee, we're down to about 5 or 6 minutes to go here. I'm not sure, but we might try to get in another phone call. If you're out there and you are seeking a doctor's help to get a medical marijuana permit, then you can call us. We have doctors all over the United States, from way out in Hawaii to Michigan and the East Coast, from sea to shining sea, ready to help you. So give us a call for a doctor referral at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. That's the number here across the United States. If you're here in Portland specifically, it's 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. And we'll be happy to help you get that medical marijuana permit. We have another caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to our show. Hello, caller.
Yeah,
Hey, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. My question is, have you guys ever hired a lobbyist to go to Washington, D.C., or a group of lobbyists? Because that seems to be the way
Oh, yeah.
things are done.
There are several lobbyists working in Washington, D.C., and also lobbyists working in the Oregon legislature. Many of us go to the Oregon legislature, but also go to Washington, D.C. There are several hired by several different organizations, everyone from Vote Hemp and the Marijuana Policy Project to Normal Students for Sensible Drug Policy, or SSDP, and Americans for Safe Access. All have lobbyists working to end marijuana prohibition and help medical marijuana patients working in Washington, D.C.
Okay, and another question is, do you really think we can get it legal in Oregon?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that that's going to happen one of these days. You know, it looks like there's an initiative on the ballot that would legalize dispensaries that has rather broad support. We have our Oregon Cannabis Tax Act petition. There's a volunteer petition drive going on. You can actually go to our website at hemp.org or cannabistaxact.org and print those petitions out. They have to be turned in no later than the end of this month. So here it is, the 18th, and so we need to have those back in hand by the 30th of June so they can be turned in to the Secretary of State no later than July 2nd, which is a Friday this year. So I don't know, the odds of that making the ballot aren't that high right now, but if a lot of people got active on it really quick, there's still a chance. So I think that marijuana is going to be completely legal in Oregon in 2012. We're working toward that. If we don't get it on the ballot this year, there's an initiative that's already made the ballot in the state of California that would legalize anyone to possess up to an ounce or cultivate a small 5x5 or 25 square foot garden. It would also allow counties and cities in California to regulate the legal sale of marijuana to adults. So based upon the polls right now show that running anywhere from 56 up to 62% positive vote. So it looks like marijuana will be legal this year in California. And we strongly support the efforts of regulate and tax cannabis, the RTC up there, regulate, control, and tax cannabis, RCTC 2010. And they put a proposal, while not ideal, they did a lot of polling to make sure they have a proposal that will win the election. And so based upon those polls, they structured a bill that should legalize marijuana this year.
Outstanding. Well, keep up the good work. I've been watching you guys a long time, first-time caller. So.
All right. Well, thanks for calling. Thanks for watching, too.
Not a problem. Have a good night.
Well, we are wrapping up. We have Mr. Tim Payton, John Cornette ready to launch into song. Just want to urge you out there to get involved in the movement to end adult marijuana prohibition. Come out and to some of our events and get active. And we will end adult marijuana prohibition in our lifetime. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week and help us restore hemp. Good night.